Hello and welcome everyone. This is your astrology forecast for new moon in Cancer, and this one is happening on the 5th or 6th of July depending on where you are in the world. But what is more important is that this new moon is happening between two full moons in Capricorn, and Capricorn is the opposite sign of Cancer. So this can be very intriguing, intense, emotional, wounding and healing new moon. And also this is not one day event or 2 days event, especially now because it's happening between two full moons in Capricorn. This is something that has a longer effect, that has an echoing effect on our emotional intelligence and growth. And this new moon talks about primal need and primal fear. And when we are talking about Cancer, this is abandonment, and this is the primal need and primal fear, and it has to do a lot with isolation, loneliness, separation, emotional disconnectedness. No one to hold me, no one to take care of me, no safety, nobody around who's going to nurture, to feed, to cook, to make a bed for you, to clean your house, to go to get you to school, to do things for you. So these are these complexities of untreated childhood traumas and the wounded inner child, the unfulfilled desires. And this inner child wants to be nurtured and babied. And fear is that we are too weak to nurture ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to grow up, to be strong, to be safe and secure within ourselves, and to be our own mommies and daddies, to be our own father and mother, and not in need for them, but to integrate all those, to integrate the whole inner family. And this can be manifested as avoidance of healing ourselves, avoidance of self-care. And we can take care of everybody else except for ourselves. That's something that we often see everywhere around us and within us. That's like the dark side of the mother archetype. There are many people who are in urge to help and to save. I spoke about this many times, the syndrome of the savior, of the hero, of the one who wants to take care of others, to nurture, to guide, to be the perfect parent. And we can see this in all relationships around us. And there is either a need to be saved or a need to save. And we will see a lot of these triggers happening. And we have to see that actually everyone is our family. And even in our blood family, we definitely have those people that we have very intense relationships with, dramatic relationships, tough ones, where we are not sure if we love this person or hate this person. So the ones who make it difficult, those who make the journey difficult, are actually our greatest teachers. And I always talk about this because we have to change the paradigm of perceiving these things. The ones who make it difficult, we have to involve them too, not only those who resonate with us. But we love to say that to other people, like, you are more family to me than my blood family. But if we want to have that full sense of wholeness and family, we have to involve the ones who make it difficult, and to include those that we don't resonate with, and to see what do we learn from them, and we grow thanks to those people. So we have to really involve them into the story. They are a very important part of our journey, big part of our journey. And Cancer part in us wants the comfort zone, but there is push out of it during this time. We have to create new comfort zone. This is new moon. It's about new beginnings. It's about planting seeds. It's about setting new intentions. But we have to create our new comfort zone, to give birth to our inner family. Cancer giving birth, nurturing, nourishing, caretaking. So we have to implement all these highest qualities and manifestations of Cancer into our life, into our relationships with our family, with our blood family, with our soul family, and with those that who make it difficult. We carry that comfort zone internally inside of us, and we are learning how to own our own needs and how to give ourselves some grace and how to wake up our heart. So it is very tough when our heart is waking up. This is when people usually go through those intense emotional purgings and detoxifications and dark thoughts and fearful thinking and worst case scenarios and anxieties and subconscious fears. All these things are actually the sign that our hearts are awakening. So don't be afraid when these things start happening, but let's try to see why they're there and what we can do with them. How can we interact with these things that we are afraid of, that we don't want, that seem uncomfortable. And this journey to self can feel like it's never ending, but that's only because we are infinite, so let's take our time. We are not really in a hurry, but it's not also an excuse not to do anything about it. And we have an opportunity to create our own private oasis during this time, because this new moon, it's next to the sun. Of course, the sun is in Cancer, and we also have Venus in Cancer, and Venus is very close to this new moon. This new moon is happening at 14 degrees of Cancer, and Venus is at 22 degrees of Cancer, so they are pretty close, and we have this Venusian impact on this new moon, and these are all things beautiful: love, beauty, harmony, balance, values, elegance, love relationships, all these things that make us feel the pleasure and joy of life. So we have an opportunity to create our new comfort zone, to heal our emotional wounds, because this Venus is making a tense square with Chiron in Aries. So it's not so simple, of course, when we have this square with Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer, and Chiron is in Aries. So this is, again, Chiron has that wound of abandonment as well. It carries the wound of abandonment. So we will definitely be triggered by that wound, and these wounds will be reopened, either in our private life or in lives of those around us, in lives of our family members, in lives of those we consider our family, and also in lives of those who make it difficult to us. So it's a test for us to see how we're going to react on what's going on. And we have to be willing to feel the fear and to identify why it is there and to work on creating our own private oasis despite everything. And this can be a very liberating experience. Of course, when we deeply feel and love our fear, it transmutes to love. And it's very simple. It happens like this. But only when we really, truly, deeply feel and love our fear, when we accept it fully, it transmutes immediately. And we learned a lot to compensate and take care of others, to try to gain approval and to feel safe. And this is, as I said, this fear of abandonment and rejection, and it will be very strong, and we will feel it. We will be witnesses of it, or we will be the ones who experience it directly. So we may either be afraid of being abandoned, or we may be the ones who are abandoning, or we may witness the abandonment, or we may feel abandoned even though we are not abandoned. So these will be strong, and let's try not to fall into that trick to always work on resolving these things externally. Let's not externalize these wounds. The wounds are not external. So if we are triggered, it's definitely something that needs to be purged. It wants to come out. Our heart wants to wake up. And this is the signal, this is the symptom. And there is a lot of use of guilt around these days. And, like when we are blaming others, or we feel guilty, or we feel ashamed, like you owe me, or I did that for you, you've got to be there for me, don't abandon me, don't leave me alone, you should be ashamed of yourself if you la la la. So these are conditionings. So we may be involved into many power struggles and manipulations and emotional blackmails and a very defensive energy. People may be very defensive, overly defensive, and this can create this balance, of course, and emotional disturbance. And that's, of course, it's all coming from that inner disbalance. And we make ourselves dependent upon other people, we become a burden for other people become burden for us. So this is all happening on unconscious level. This is not done intentionally, it's not done consciously. That's that's below the level of consciousness. And it turns out that we may be either smothering somebody by our own needs, our own longings, our demands, our emotional hooks that we hang on them, or somebody else would be smothering us. But as I always say, this is not about resolving that smothering between me and other person, but in seeing what's inside of me, what's doing that inside of me, what is causing this. And this is always related to mother and father issues, because we know many cases where mother won't let the kid grow up and leave home, or a child who doesn't want to detach from the home, from the mother, from the place where it's born. So there we have those strong attachments where people are afraid to get out of their comfort zones because they think they will lose their roots, their identity. People are afraid of losing their identity. We have Chiron in Aries. Aries is the sign of identity, of the sense of self. So there is fear of losing who I am if I lose my family, if I lose those who I'm attached to. So we have to be ready to surrender. We have Saturn in Pisces, and this new moon is making a positive, harmonious trine with Saturn in Pisces, which is great, because thanks to this, we have an ability to surrender, to let go, to trust our guts, and to just allow things to happen without our need to control them, to let people go if they have to, without our need to control them or to be controlled. And of course, our need to control others is also our need to be controlled. So it's hidden. So it's expressed as our need to control others, but the hidden, what's behind that, it's the need to be controlled. But controlled, then it means that somebody takes care of me. So we always find ourselves trapped into our many difficult and intense possessive relationships. And emotional manipulations could be very strong. Emotionally, they emotionally dominate our relationships. And this is a time when we are asked to do things on our own. There is an assignment that says do it yourself. And this is similar to previous new moons in Cancer. There is a very similar message that is being delivered over and over in these last couple of years. Do it yourself assignment. Don't count on others, because you may be disappointed. Don't expect others to do things that you should do for yourself. Don't expect others to give you magic wand and magic solutions, instant solutions for things. Do it yourself. So there is this do it yourself assignment, but of course not to the extreme of doing everything on your own and never asking for any help. Of course, we have to know when is the right moment to do it yourself and when is the right moment to ask for help. This is how we develop the healthy emotional and mental behavior. And we will be really faced with that inner mother, the great mother within us. And Cancer is the sign of the great mother. It teaches us to mother ourselves, regardless of the gender. And we may feel that emotions and intuition are really heightened during this time. And it can feel like a roller coaster for sure. As we ride the waves of energy it brings, it's important to give ourselves time and space to feel. give ourselves moments of silence when we can cry, process, and allow our feelings to come up. And it can be easy to ignore or suppress your emotions at this time of the year. And Cancer is all about feeling. Cancer is not a logical sign. It's emotional, intuitive, non-linear. It's the water sign. And the moon, we have the new moon in Cancer, so it's in its own sign. The moon rules the Cancer. And it's a very personal sign, so this can feel very personal. This is a moment when we can change our life, our personal life. We can renew our personal life. We can recreate our family. We can recreate our emotional patterns. And, this energy doesn't care about pros and cons. It doesn't care about making any lists of pros and cons or making calculations or measuring, is this right or is this wrong? We have to feel it. So this awakening of the heart can be very tough and painful and wounding, but as I said, very healing because of that. We cannot heal unless we feel these things. And it's an ongoing process. It's the process of continuously purging and detoxing ourselves. And Cancer and Capricorn are very important. They are on the main cross axis, the 4th and 10th houses. So this new moon is between two full moons in Capricorn, between the full moon in Capricorn that happened on the 21st of June, 22nd on the 1st degree of Capricorn, and the full moon that's happening on the 21st of July at 29th degree of Capricorn. So the beginning and the end of Capricorn. Then we have new moon in Cancer in between of that. So we need to reach the core of the heart, the middle. The heart chakra needs to open so that we can balance between the beginning and the ending of the Capricorn archetype of becoming self-master. So without the heart energy, it doesn't make sense. Nothing can work. We cannot calculate or measure good deeds. We cannot calculate and make pros and cons lists for things of the heart. It's impossible, and life is based on that kind of energy. So Cancer teaches us that just because our feelings make no sense, they are still valid. They still count. They are still very important, even though they make no sense at all. They still affect us deeply, and they can still teach us something about ourselves. And we may not know where it comes from. We may go through some very emotional time without any external reason. Some of us could really experience that kind of thing now, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to analyze where it comes from. You just have to feel it, allow it to be there. Let's see what it is. Get closer with it. Sitting with your feelings and having a conversation with them. That's how we are learning about our heart and what does it need and what do we need to feel supported. Cancer's energy is to have the confidence to ask for what you need. And, we fear asking for what we need. And we have been conditioned not to have our needs met. And we actually go through life feeling like our needs won't ever be met, but this is something that we have to do. Do it yourself. That's the assignment. And let's think about if we could make one feeling our home. Which one would it be? Which feeling would you choose to be your home? And it reminds us that our home takes many forms. It can be a physical shelter, but it can also be a vibration we live within each day. And it is a feeling, actually. A home is a feeling. And we will have to search for what feeling makes us feel like we are home, like we belong, and what makes us feel unsupported in life. And we have to commit to releasing anything that doesn't feel like home to our whole being. The archetypal mother pattern can come into play. We may not want to release or say goodbye to some of these energies. We may want to hold on. Cancer can really strongly hold on and never let go So we may feel this pain of separation and the wounding of abandonment, or we may be going through something again, but this is a reminder, this is alarm, this is the heart awakening, and it's an opportunity to create something new, to give birth to new feelings, to see our past with new light, with new eyes, because Cancer is also related to our fourth house and our past, our childhood, our roots, our mother, our family, and our emotional stability and security, our inner child and inner family. So we definitely have to see our past in new way. When we see our past in a different way, when we give new light to our past, we are free from the past, or at least we are freeing ourselves to some certain degree. And we can often become addicted to things that aren't good for our growth or soul development. Distractions can take many forms, and they can bring us immediate relief from an aching heart. But these immediate reliefs will never give us any solution. So we have to address our feelings instead of running from them. And it's best for the awakening of the heart to see it and feel it. And it's not always easy, of course. And releasing the things that help us avoid it, it's not easy, but we have to let go of those things that give us temporary relief. And it can be anything. I'm sure that everyone will know what that is for them. And we are creatures of habit, and we definitely choose the familiar road because it's comfortable. We always choose the familiar road. And it is really important to make the difference between what feels familiar and what feels like home. So we will be seeing the difference, we will be understanding the difference between what is familiar and what feels like home. And we are challenging ourselves to say goodbye to those energies that no longer serve our heart, saying goodbye to what doesn't feel like home. This will be our task as well. Do it yourself and say goodbye to what doesn't feel like home. And this new moon is here to help us, and so is our heart. And whatever we're going through is there to help us, of course. And these familial bonds will be strong, and strong attachments, as I said, and many commitments that we will be faced with. We are asking this new moon, we can ask this new moon, to help us to release the past, to help us to restore our spirit, to help us bring the balance to our lives, and to become clear about our responsibilities, and to fuel our life's purpose. And there is this ability to heal not only those past wounds, but the ones that are being recreated over and over on a daily basis. And this is a wonderful opportunity for finding that inner peace, the stability of inner peace. And this is not a state that we are continuously into. We cannot be in this state all the time, but if we know how to reach this place at every given moment, we can reduce to extreme level the unnecessary suffering in our life. So we can do this on a daily level. We can find that inner peace continuously. For example, in one minute something is happening and I can tap into that space of inner peace. And of course in the next moment I can be completely full of rage or something, but I know that I have this choice to return to that inner peace, to find it. And this Cancer archetype is really giving us that stability within a trine with Saturn in Pisces. And Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, the ruler of these two full moons that are happening around this new moon in Cancer. So the Saturn gives us stability, responsibility, discipline, commitment, devotion. And we will be able to really find that inner stability in every given moment, whenever we feel that something is hunting us and keeping us stuck we can have this opportunity to again find that inner peace right now in this very moment. And the glyph of Cancer is also talking about that. When we look at the glyph of Cancer, it looks like a spiral, a double spiral, a DNA. And it is also a sign of breasts, the breastfeeding, the great mother, the food, the nurturance, the nourishment, the care. So this glyph of Cancer is a continuous creation of life, the recreation of life, the double spiral, always moving, always growing, always evolving, and always being able to create the balance. There is always that balance. If you look at the glyph of Cancer, you will easily see it. And we have an opportunity now to break away from rigidity and to see where are we being too rigid and where do we need to bend a little. We may need to bend a little bit. And, where are we going to an extreme of being in control? Where do we need to release and surrender? Saturn in Pisces. This is a great reminder of laws, of rules, of regulations, but also of the divine rules. And the question is, are we breaking any of the divine laws? And what are divine laws that we know that we don't want to break? Do we know what are divine laws for you? What are divine laws for me? We have to go through these and see what this divine law is for each of us and how are we breaking those laws, and not so much being focused on the laws that are imposed onto us. And we have to contemplate and take responsibility for these divine laws that we are either breaking or living in alignment with. And we are being encouraged to get in touch with the water frequency. This is Cancer new moon, and Venus is also here, so there is great healing with the element of water. And we are asked to appreciate the water, to cleanse ourselves, to cleanse ourselves of the past. We know that water is very, very purging element, and we can really treat ourselves with water in a very powerful way now. I'll talk more about it, but the tree that is beside the running water is much more alive and fresher and gives more fruit than the tree that is not beside the running water. So let's, we can put ourselves in the running water too. Sometimes we want to be stagnant to stay safe, close to home and mother, and we have to identify these areas that are stagnant and to put them in that running water and appreciate the water, see the benefits of water in every possible way. It can even be very magical for many of us if we can communicate with the water in any way that you want. And Cancer is also about the food and nurturance. So we are asked to do things that are feeding ourselves, that are feeding our soul, and that are nurturing and loving. And we are happiest when we are at home. This is our safety zone. So we don't want to leave the nest. And we may be faced with those challenges too in our lives and in lives of those who are close to us. And we may have a need to own something, to own a property, to own a land, or something solid, something that we can say, okay, this is mine, this belongs to me. Or we may have a need to eat too much, to overeat, to fill our emotional holes and to feed those unfulfilled desires. And overeating or not eating at all is actually very, very alarming if it's happening now in your life, because this is a sign that you really have to change something right now. And these are those habits, those daily emotional wants and needs, those high expectations from others, and never daring to do it yourself assignment. Do it yourself, not in a way do everything on your own when it comes to work in your life, but do it yourself assignment to treat yourself, to take care of yourself, to nurture yourself. This is something that you cannot demand from others to do. And we have to learn to water ourselves with love, watering ourselves with love. You know, we know that plants need need watering with love in order to grow. So it's not different with our hearts. We have to water ourselves, and we also have to stay hydrated. And we may have to see which areas of our lives need water, which areas are dry. Where do you feel your life is dry right now? Where do you feel like your life needs blossoming? It needs more water. And, you know, let's water those plants that need water inside. And let's not forget that tears are also water. Tears are liquid, and it's liquid, it's pain turned into water. And water of tears are very healing and transforming. Water, let's water the dry heart with those tears and see it blossoming. This is like tears coming in the desert, like we are finding that oasis in the middle of the desert. These would be the tears that come from the true feeling of everything, without need to externalize it, to verbalize it, to analyze it, but just to feel it and to allow it to water you, to water those dry places, to water your dry heart. And, you know, if we are flowing and moving and bending a little, we may find that we can solve all our problems if we water them with fresh water every day. And, you know, we can remove those toxins in an easy way if we do it like this. We can continuously, just as I said, we can continuously on a daily level find that place of inner peace. This is the same now with watering our dry places. We can address those dry places within ourselves in every moment, many times during the day, and then we can water them. We can imagine that we are watering them. We can cry over them. We can go to the running water and put ourselves in the running water in order to heal them and to transform them. But this Cancer also deals with that inner child. And there is a great sense of guilt when we want to enjoy in pleasures and have some fun. And this is, you know, the question of how were we raised, what kind of restrictions we were dealing with while growing up, what did we do out of fear while growing up, what our authority figures, our parents or parent figures were frightening us with in order to do something, to either eat or sleep or whatever, or to stop crying. These are the main things, and these are the things that we are going to deal with. You know, our need to eat, to sleep, and to cry. And where do we feel prevented from doing that? Where do we feel like we cannot do it? Or we may feel guilty if we enjoy it. Or we may feel like we have to, you know, wake up early, do a lot of work. You don't have to eat, you don't have to rest, you just have to work. This is the opposition from the Cancer, the Capricorn. So we are definitely addressing those wounds during this time. And we want to do whatever we want, and then we feel guilty. And this is something that will be strongly present in our lives now. Those moments where we want to do something, to enjoy something, but then we feel guilty. And this is attacking us, and we are fighting with it. And then we need approval from others if we are doing the right thing or what we're doing wrong. But this is something we have to do on our own. We have to be brave. We have to have courage to do these things. Bravery is needed. Courage is needed. Decision is needed. And we have Mars and Uranus coming together on the 15th of July. But this is something that is already starting to manifest, this energy between Mars and Uranus. And the exact date is 15th of July. But this will be felt days before and days after. And with Mars and Uranus together, we can definitely have the courage to do something like this, to do it quickly, to make snap decisions, to just cut it off, to say, that's it, I won't ever turn back and look into my past again, to do something that is extreme, that is sudden, that is unpredictable, that is out of the blue decision, that is very straightforward, that is direct. Or we may experience some shocks and surprises something that really kicks us out of our comfort zone. Mars and Uranus together can bring volcanoes, eruptions, earthquakes, uh, protests, demonstrations, rebellious behavior, revolutionary behavior, eccentric behavior, escalation of things. Things can quickly escalate, and Mars and Uranus together can be volatile, can be impulsive, can be very reactive. So, and this new moon in Cancer and full moons in Capricorn, things can be overly emotional. We may feel provoked, easily triggered, overly emotional, and then we just snap and react headlessly. And then later we see things clearly. So it's very important to use this beautiful trine with Saturn and the square between Venus and Chiron to tap into that healing and to find that stability, to find this decisiveness within ourselves, to take care of ourselves and to do it ourselves, and not to expect others to do things for us or to behave in the way we would want them to behave, or to feel emotionally safe if everything around us is safe. Our external world may not resemble our inner state of being in a true way during this time. For example, we may feel very anxious and irritable and fearful inside of us, but on the outside nothing is happening. Or it can be the other way. Outside could be happening many heavy things, but on the inside we may feel good. So let's not feel guilty in either case. This is something that is only there to be processed, so let's allow us to process it. As I said, feeling is healing, and this is something very personal. It's our personal story, our personal stuff, our intimacy, our private life, and we are very sensitive, very sentimental, very nostalgic too, but also very defensive, and could be very emotionally manipulative because of that, and controlling. So there is this need for sense of security, and we may be exchanging our personal stories with others, and this can also bring some kind of liberation if we are conscious of what we are doing, if we are not using our personal stories in order to manipulate others emotionally, to keep them in control, or to trigger the pity mode in others towards us. If we want others to feel sorry for us, this is very toxic need, and we have to heal it, we have to release it, we have to surrender it, to integrate it completely, to simplify things, that to really meet that inner child, and to meet with the innocence of it, to meet with the rage of it, to meet with anger, sadness, and pain all together. And this is, of course, Chiron is the wounded healer, and there is this square with Venus in Cancer, but Cancer is also the archetype of the healer, and especially when it comes to emotional healing and healing within the family. And this energy is asking us, what do we need? And we can extend this care towards others now. We are all natural healers. When we are in that vibration of the heart, if we can allow the heart to wake up, if we go through the darkness, if we experience this intensity, the pain, the wounding, the triggers, the emotional manipulations, and if we are able to see all these things within us and to be very honest with ourselves, of course we become the natural healers. And we may also be focused on the healing food. A lot of us healing the body through healing food, and healing the land, healing the art of life. Don't let our hearts shut down, don't let our hearts sleep. And this is time for new beginnings and for soft qualities. This is the energy of growth and change, but also of growing pains. And Mars is the great trigger now. This is the illusion of separation. Again, we are now going to see the illusion of separation, but we may also be deeply attracted into that space where we experience the illusion of separation, and we may be unable to see that this is an illusion, because really to actually know that we are not separated is hard. It's not so easy, especially when we are identified with our wounds. And there is a lot of need to protect ourselves, to protect our loved ones, and need to protect what is unprotected. This will be very strong. Need to protect what is unprotected, and together with this Mars and Uranus making conjunction in Taurus near the Algol, the head of Medusa, it can be very intense and it can even be violent. So let's be careful. If we have a strong need to protect the unprotected, let's first just stop and think about it before we go directly into that rebellious, eccentric behavior, because many of us will have this need to just have snap decisions without any ability to control ourselves and our reactions, because there is strong need to protect or to defend, or to be the mother and the father towards those who are unprotected. And we may be faced with the need to hide as well, or we may have this experience with someone we love. There is someone who wants to hide, who is escaping reality, who is escaping the journey to the self. And we may have tough times dealing with these people. So, but this is where we need this courage to face those fears and wounds. We shouldn't hide. This is not time for hiding. This is not time for withdrawing into the safe shell where Cancer loves to hide sometimes. This is time to go outside. And the Cancer is the sign that moves on the land and on the sea. So we have this ability to see the both of it, to see the emotions and to see the body, and to heal emotions in the body, to heal the disbalance between them, and to heal the inner family. There is, a very strong energy of our need to hide and withdraw, but there is also a strong need for demonstrating the power. And we may be using our traumas, our wounds, as manipulation hooks for those who we want to hold close to us. This is something that we may either witness or experience in our personal story. The need to demonstrate the power through manifesting our weaknesses, or demonstrating the power through showing how vulnerable we are. It's very important where our intention comes from. And the power of self-mastery and self-autonomy, this is something that really rings the bell now for those who want to become the creators of their own life. And this is a time when we may meet new people who feel like family, new tribe, new soul family, or we may experience new beginnings within our existing family, with our blood family, or with our existing soul family, with people who feel like our family. There is something new happening here that could be challenging, but also very, very liberating. And this is a call to come back to ourselves, to come back to our home, to come back to where we feel like we belong. We need some place where we feel like we belong. It's time to come back to ourselves, come back to nature, but not necessarily coming back to nature externally, but coming back to what is natural, what is real, what is organic, and accept our feelings and emotions as they are. Of course, our inner child seeks nourishment, support, and care to feel protected and secure, and we have to go deep into ourselves in order to give our inner child what it needs. This is our private universe. It's very individual. It's about our emotional dependencies, our deeply rooted unconscious patterns, over-attachment, suffocating, feeling like we're suffocating, smothering energy, possessive, indulgent. This is time for emotional reset and how we connect with our past, how conditioned we are by our past. And we may be faced with that self-pity mode, with infantile behavior, indulgent, immature, hysterical, pathetic, with our own baby state of being. We are going to see, are we in that state of being a baby, of being infantile, of being needy and clingy, where we need to be taken care of. Or, of course, if we want to protect the unprotected, to save the world, to save those who are less fortunate than we are, to save everyone. This is another trap. We cannot save anybody else. We cannot. Our task is not even to save ourselves, but to accept ourselves, to allow ourselves to heal. We don't have to save anything or anyone. Of course, this doesn't mean that we shouldn't help and support others. Of course we should, all the time. We always have to show the best of who we are, but not to continuously suffer in that unconscious need to help, to support, because that's a never-ending suffering. But there is a time when this comes to its highest peak and we say, that's it, I have to change something. I cannot expect the same, the different results if I'm always doing the same. This will be another lesson for all of us. And we shouldn't abandon ourselves. So instead of being afraid of being abandoned, we should really think about where we shouldn't abandon ourselves. So don't abandon yourself. Don't be afraid of being abandoned, but just focus on don't abandoning yourself. Because we have abandoned ourselves. Nobody else abandoned us but ourselves. And we have to sorry we have to openly embrace those places where we have been abandoning ourselves over and over. This is a lot about emotional belonging. And we have to see where is our family, where is our home, who do we come to when we need to, and what is my core, my truth, my core emotional need. We have to enrich our inner resources, and it is very important to work on self-improvement all the time, to expand the heart, to allow the heart to wake up and to open. Allow the heart to wake up, and this means, as I said, it's allowing ourselves to feel the pain, to feel weak, to feel everything, to feel that, to be honest with ourselves, to be honest when we are trying to manipulate others, to be honest when we are trying to demonstrate our power in a negative way, to be honest completely with ourselves and not to try to analyze it, verbalize it, and intellectualize it, but to feel it. This is the cancer. It is very important to expand our heart and to create the security access for ourselves. We need this security access. We need to feel vulnerable with ourselves. We need courage to go into that place. And we may be faced with some passive-aggressive behavior along the way or hysterical behavior, but this is, again, there for a reason, and it's up to us how we are dealing with it. It's not about removing these things, but how we deal with them. And we may be more sentimental too, but this is an initiation into the inner journey. This is new birth. We are giving ourselves new birth. We are giving new birth to our past. And we are traveling to somewhere we belong. But we are not actually traveling anywhere far away. We are traveling within ourselves. We are traveling inside of us in order to find the place where we belong. And we have to cultivate compassion, gentleness, kindness, love, harmony. These are the things that we have to cultivate in order to travel inside and to find the place where we belong. And this is the time, the time of heightened sensitivity and heightened emotions. And it's time to see what is our gut saying. During this time we have Pluto in opposition with Mercury. And Pluto is power, strength, and authority. And we may feel like somebody is stepping over our authority now. We may feel like we are against authority. These are authority issues. And where do we need to speak out? This is aggression towards what is unfamiliar. We may be faced with aggression with what is unfamiliar. And learning to return home to ourselves. We are returning home. Every time when we have new or full moon in Cancer, it's our chance and it's time for us to return home. And this means to travel inside, to have the guts to travel inside, to have the courage to face those fears and traumas, to have the courage to awaken the heart. And it's a lot about emotional intelligence. So we are growing. As I said, these are growing pains. Emotional intelligence. So instead of being emotionally infantile, we have to focus on developing emotional intelligence. And how we manage our emotional world. We are all going to see how we manage our emotional world. And this energy is bringing us back into ourselves so that we can find the comfort. And it's showing us what we need right now. What do I need to bring me into balance? I have to be aware of my needs. I have to be able to take care of myself, to nurture myself and to know my needs, to feel confident and strong, to trust myself. And we can now trust our intuition. We can trust that inner world. But this is a sensitive spot. It's a vulnerability and insecurity, emotional and personal. These are defense mechanisms. Defend oneself against danger and threat. What kind of parent am I to myself? What kind of parent are you to yourself? This is the big question for all of us now. Now, what kind of parent are we to ourselves? Listen to what we shut down, what we ignored. We have to hear what we shut down. We can be both soft and strong, gentle and determined, self-confident and compassionate. And this reminds us of those places within. Defensive and overprotective, where we are defensive and where we are overprotective. These are the things where we have to focus our attention. These are the things that we have to feel. But this is a chance for new look onto the past, new life, new consciousness, new wisdom in heart, and strength to trust ourselves. And variety of feelings is coming up. It's very intense, and it can be like the heat is coming up. But we have this Cancer water sign, so we can use the water to cool us down, to heal us. And we are going to see that families are under construction during this time. We may feel like we are under construction too. Our personal life is under construction. But many of us will say, but yeah, I feel like that my whole life. And that's true. We are always under construction. But this is the time when we can see this more clearly, more evidently, more obviously. We can see that life and family is, that those are the processes. They are always under construction. But what do we do? How do we construct these things? What are we doing with them? And we are asked to release and let go, to release of the need to control those constructions, because we cannot control these processes. We should feel them in order to heal them. So this is a lot about learning the power of true support, not of doing things in order to manipulate and emotionally control others, not for doing things for others in order to have them in our lives, because if we do things for others, we know that they owe us in some way. Or if we are always in some need, they will always be there for us. No, this is time to really learn the power of true support, of real healthy support. Do we support others truly? What is our intention behind supporting others? Do we try to put a smile on somebody's face? And it's very important to tell ourselves that it is safe to feel and to be our own parents, to put ourselves to bed, and to say it's safe to feel this, it's normal to feel this. We may feel abandoned, of course, but this is very healing to feel this way now. to address the wound. And we may feel like orphanages as well. Whenever we have strong Cancerian energy in the atmosphere and in our hearts, this is when we may feel abandoned and feeling like an orphanage. But this is a trigger for us to reparent ourselves, to see what kind of parent we are to ourselves. And we are learning how to create more support for one another. We need touch, we need love, we need feedback, we need, of course, clothes and food and shelter, and we all receive a particular scenario. We all receive a particular ticket, a particular bill, a particular card, if you will, when we come into this life. And this comes with blockages, with traumas, with wounds, with dramas, with scenes and roles, and all kinds of dynamics and intensities. So we definitely have to experience these things. And it's time to crush the herbs and to get the essential oils now. Our personality needs to be crushed. Our roles have to be crushed in order for us to meet our essence. So it's time for us to create that safe space. And this healing process can be uncomfortable, but it is a must to remove toxins from our system. And for healing relationships, for healing ourselves, it's time to be our own authority, releasing from the prisons of the past. And rules are changing. Rules of the game are changing. Rules of our lives are changing. And past experiences that have been wounding need to surrender. And we have to support ourselves. We've been trained to protect ourselves, to defend, to control others, to manipulate, and nobody ever taught us how to really connect. What is true connection? We know what is attachment. We know what is emotional control. We know how to manipulate. We know how to defend, we know how to play that game, but we don't know how to truly connect. We don't know how to awaken the heart. And this is what we are learning. And these are growing pains. And it's all revolving around home, life, and family, and finding our tribe and feeling that we belong. So this is a great time for crying and releasing and letting go. Opportunity to integrate all the family that we hold inside of us in a way that is new, that is creative. And there is a great quote for this energy that says, "Life is a storm, my young friend. You will bask in the sunlight one moment, be shattered on the rocks the next. What makes you a man is what you do when the storm comes." And one more that says, "There is nothing more stimulating than a case where everything goes against you." And with this, I would end this video. And I wish you all a very powerful healing new moon in Cancer. And I love you all and see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.